What role did Persia play in biblical history? Join me as I dive deep into the ancient world and challenge myself to uncover the crucial role Persia played in biblical history. The first thing you should know about ancient Persia is that it was a vast empire. It stretched from the Balkans to the Arabian Peninsula and from Egypt to Afghanistan. Now that's a big chunk of real estate. But for our purposes, we are most interested in the western part of the empire, the region that bordered Israel. Persia's influence on Israel can be seen in three key areas. First, Persia was home to the Jews' enemies, the Samaritans and the Assyrians. The book of Ezra tells the story of the Jews' return to Israel and their struggle to rebuild the temple. But they faced opposition from these two groups. The Samaritans were probably the worst. They were half-breeds, the product of the sexual union between the northern Israelites and the various peoples that had been brought in to resettle the northern kingdom after the Assyrians had conquered it. But there's a second sense in which Persia was crucial for Israel. While it was home to their enemies, it was also home to their friends. When the Jews returned to Israel, they weren't alone. Many people from Media and Persia came with them. These Persian Jews are mentioned several times in the book of Esther. And while we don't know much about them, we do know that at least one of them became the savior of the Jewish people. His name was Mordecai. He was an ancestor of King David and the man who adopted and raised Esther, who would become the queen of the Persian Empire. Through her, God saved the Jews from their enemies, the Samaritans and the Assyrians, and he gave them back their land. And this leads us to the third way in which Persia impacted Israel. The Persian kings are some of the most prominent figures in the Bible. Cyrus the Great is mentioned by name more than any other king. And his successor, Darius, features prominently in the book of Daniel. Both kings are praised for their treatment of the Jews. Cyrus allowed the Jews to return to Israel and rebuild the temple. And Darius preserved the Jews from their enemies in Susa and throughout the empire. In fact, the book of Daniel ends with a decree from Darius, a decree that would protect the Jews from their enemies throughout the entire empire. In the end, it was the great empire to the east that saved the people of Israel. Without the tolerance of the Persian kings, there may not have been a second temple. And without the protection of those same kings, the Jews may not have survived. So the next time you hear someone say that the Persians were just some random empire that the Jews happened to be around at the time, remember what I told you today, because without the Persians, the story of Israel would have been very different. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining me today as we uncovered the crucial role that Persia played in biblical history. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out our other videos, where we bring you new original content every week. Thanks for watching.